Alright, just want to go over some theory crafting stuff regarding this as a sort of proof or reason why I'm doing various things or making certain quote-unquote assumptions based off the, which are actually just based off the logic that I see. So, first things first, this is just going to be off the cuff for the most part and might have a couple of various facts. For example, it's going to be very note heavy for note taking and documentation. First things first, the lowest height that you can have with the little mini bomb hover right before the water drop appears to be 1900. A lot of this is just going to be like me spewing stuff off. I'm not necessarily going to show it because that would take more effort on my part. But 1895 was the lowest that I was able to make it, but that is assuming very extreme conditions, I think, in which you're actually very well lined up with the switch. One. As two, it assumes a frame perfect pause or start on the frame perfect movement, including a pause and then a backwalk, which is not too bad. It's a curved backwalk though, which makes it absolutely horrendous for RTA. And three, it's a curved backwalk requirement. But 1907 worked rather well. I think, was it 1907? Let me check my notes with museums. $1925 did not work with rolls, but with a backwalk. Okay. 1907 also worked. That's where the frame perfect pause comes into play for the backwalk. With the backwalk, but rolls don't work. 1925 works. But it also assumes that you're lined up with the switch well enough that a backwalk would work. Rolls were not fast enough for 1925 height. And then above that, 1942 worked with pretty good rolls. I think there was some very slight leniency with them, but pretty good rolls. So yeah, about 1950-ish, a little under that, is probably pretty good for RTA as far as in a lower limit for Y. Okay, that's the easy one. Now for the proofs for stuff that I've been working on. And also to show how you can save steps if you decide you're going to waste time like I am looking for a setup. So first things first, have your milk. And have ISG. Never mind, ISG doesn't matter for what I'm going to do. Yes it does, I'm going up against the ledge. Alright, so get lined up, got a ledge, whatever. First thing I want to prove is, let's go with the older setup. Specifically first I want to prove it's more so two different things, one after the other. The first one is going to show you how you can save time making a setup or whatever. With this, at least so far it seems. Of course. Okay, well, whatever. That's really cool, Link. I really like when you decide to do really go overboard. Alright, complaining aside. I will save a position once I get down there, but I want to prove a point with that. So when I'm testing, I'm just loading the exact same position up for down here for the second store, regardless of... Oh, is that the scarecrow, I think? I don't think it matters where you are down here, essentially. Your starting position. So anyways, I'm just gonna go on the left side of this arbitrarily, do the setup, and just whatever this frame is. Okay, sure. First frame link snaps to it, so to speak. Starting Y is 63.5758, 63, 57, 58. Do it on the right side. Okay, it does matter in the sense that you have to be close enough for it to work. Just gonna do it on the far left, and I'm also gonna save the position while I'm at it this time. '63, 57, 58, and I'll do it on the middle-ish. '63, 57, 58. I'm looking at Y velocity if that's not obvious. So all that to show that as long as your first store is consistent, you have the same breathing pattern, which is what we're about to get into. Breathing pattern, breathing cycle frame, and your setups are done well. And as long as you actually get the hook jump, not too far to the right, you get the same starting Y velocity. So, I guess I could also do it here. I don't think I did it here yet. Exactly there anyways. Ooh. Did I mess that up? Not paying attention. I guess so. Okay. 63, 57, 58. Alright, that aside, next up, going back up here, I mentioned that this is all fine assuming that your position is the same, of course. I should have mentioned that. But also, two, your breathing cycle is the same. So now that we know that your position along the bottom doesn't matter when you're actually pulling out second hook, I'm just going to use the same exact position. And I've been doing that during testing as well, because it just literally does not seem to matter. But this time, very similar setup. One more please, thank you. Except we're going to store the hook on different frames. So now you can see Link's head bobbing kind of down, left, and up, right. I'm going to do down, left the whole way. Do everything else the same. Okay, or drop target for a frame or so. That's great. Thanks, controller, whatever that was. Okay, so bottom left again. Clamping on target. Okay, 64.0316. 64.0316 versus head is gonna pop up right when I do it this time. Okay, like so. So if even if position did matter, I'm using the same position anyway, so it would still be consistent regardless. But that aside, the only difference is the breathing frame, the breathing cycle frame that between this and the last one. So 63.8568. The last one was 64.10 or 01 something, if I recall correctly. So breathing pattern in itself does have an effect. sometimes it's better to have links head bob upright, sometimes bob down left. I don't think it's ever necessarily the best to have it bob in the middle, unless extreme situations it hits the top or something of that sort at a certain point, and at that point you don't necessarily and for that position and angle it's just simply better to do something else. Maybe then middle would be better, but those would be your extremes: up or top right, bottom left, and then middle right there. Sometimes one is better than the other. It really depends on your exact angle. So all that to say is whatever setup you go with, try to test the other two frame data points just to make sure. But with 7.0 early access video, funny name, I said that this might not matter. Reason being, I think that for the other setups we seem to be hitting the side of the hook target, but for this one and another one that messed me up for a bit, I think you might be hitting the top. I didn't really test out too much because about to fall asleep, head to bed, etc. But we can test real quick, I suppose. This little something. So I think it was top or upright frame. Okay, I want to be on the far left if I recall, a little past. Gonna save this position now. It was the third frame past. Okay. That's amazing. Oh, I forgot to do the thing. That was new. Yeah, I forgot to do an ESS turn. My bad. Also gonna save a state here, just in case I screw up again. Like so. Technically a little past, but that's fine. Just wondering if a tap side up to the left would make it, but I guess not. Anyways, far left, be aware of the piece. Far left, just gotta be moving like with ISG. One frame of, nope, I did it again. ESS left. There we go. One frame backflip. Make a new save state. $63. Just out of curiosity. First frame. Okay. Second frame. Alright, cool. So that seems to line up. I do want to try over here real quick. This ladder hat portion might just be solely testing. Fair enough. And then one other thing to check out. Check out exact latch point. Definitely seems to be the top of the hook tower. Awesome. Okay, with being the top of the hookshot tower, I imagine that it is possible that position down here might now matter. Not really certain on that though. I'm gonna test this out real quick. Test this out real quick. Okay, so 63, 2098. What if I'm to the rail? 98 and a little forward. Okay, cool. So that lines up. So it doesn't matter still. And I also want to test bottom left frame data for the breathing cycle. Is that the same? It's the same angle, but I'm just gonna do this real quick. Really? Oh. Yeah, it's not supposed to be the same angle. It keeps throwing me off for some reason. Muscle memory, I guess. Okay. Put it left for this one, I guess. Position itself might matter, I suppose. Okay, 63, 2098. Alright, as long as the hook shot itself, the hook jump itself, the Druck jump, whatever you want to call this thing, actually happens, then unlike before, now it seems breathing frame does not matter because you're hitting the top of the hookshot tower, which means that, okay, so basically why that matters is why I believe that matters, not because I know, just because of testing and chains that I've followed, trying to find logic patterns or whatever. So the height itself that you get from the hook jump seems to be based off of, I have no idea how to prove this or anything of that sort, it might be completely wrong. It seems to be based off of the distance between the two latch points for the hook shots. The sword hook shot being taller, higher, whatever, and I guess what pulls Link up, so to speak, not really sure, versus the other one, which is lower. So that's why whenever I'm making these setups, a lot of times one aims to be as high up on the hookshot tower as possible, the other one aims to be the lowest point in the hookshot tower. And I'm still messing with the idea of the top of the hookshot tower because I only ever started having that ability when I started storing the hookshot. The first hookshot went on above where the owl statue is, and that I think I only started doing that with 6.0. But anyways, before it was trying to get literally the top of the side of the hookshot tower. Now it's literally, with this case, a 7.0, the actual top of the hookshot tower, which means that the first hookshot stored is always going to be at a consistent height. Okay, so to reiterate, I believe that based off the numbers, whatever, not numbers, the patterns that I've seen, I guess, or whatever, the testing that I've done, it's specifically the height difference. Alright, the difference on Y between hookshot latch point 1 and hookshot latch point 2. Horizontal doesn't seem to matter in any way, shape, or form. I don't know why. It just doesn't seem to matter, and I don't even know if the game keeps track of it. Not that there's any reason to keep track of the other one, but whatever. So, all that to say that because of the nature of the 6.0 setups, going up against the ledge, the exact point of which the hookshot one, the stored hookshot, latches onto the hookshot tower can be varied, especially with the side up method. But even without that, where exactly it fell along was very dependent on the actual position of the setup, more so on the theory crafting side than anything. 7.0 takes that out and just says, hey, you just need to be in the relative positions to make sure that the hook jump works, and you'll get the same value every time. Which is an interesting difference. And as long as you're able to get the bare minimum what you need, then this might be the way to go as far as consistent fast setups. Maybe. Or unless we can find something faster. I'm still considering if you can just literally, like, aim anywhere on the hook tower. Maybe more testing will be required for that, but I'll probably text that so people don't have to watch this whole thing. Anyways, posting it says this. It's me rambling a lot. Good night. Bye-bye. HFHF.